Since 2008, I've taken over 140 students overseas. Since 2011, my husband, Dustin Hodge, has come along and filmed our journey. I'm Dr. Donna Souter. This is CSU-Pueblo. These are my students, and this is our story.
I was born and raised here in Pueblo, Colorado. First generation college student. Dr. Souter brought up a study abroad trip, and my first initial reaction was like, ugh, how am I going to pay for this? But I was able to save. I was able to figure out what I wanted.
Dr. Souter was one of my favorite professors that I've ever had. I was in her English class kind of just by chance, and it was one of the best classes I've ever had. She made it such an enjoyable experience for me. Going on this trip, I kind of knew that it was going to be amazing just because she has so much knowledge and so much experience with this, and she's able to connect that to her students in a way that I don't think very many professors could.
She's really become such a valuable person in our lives, and almost like a maternal figure in our lives, as weird as that is to say. I've never had a professor like that. This relationship that I have developed with my professor, Dr. Souter, and her husband, Dustin, I hope to continue for the rest of my life.
It was really great. I got to know them. They gave so much context and so much life to the research that we were taking part in before the trip, and once we got on trip, they really were able to share their own experiences in travel and give us a lot of help as we went along.
It was great to have individuals who have done this before, yet didn't really lecture all the time and tell me exactly what to do and what I should feel at these places, but they provided great guidelines, exactly just enough information that I needed to get by in these places and experience it for myself.
They've made all of this possible for us, and with that in mind, you want to be the best that you can be for them. You want to make them proud. You want them to realize that what they're doing matters, that you appreciate this opportunity more than anything.
I've never done any sort of school trips. While the traveling on my own, it's been kind of doing what I want to do and learning what I want to learn. This trip had a lot more of structure to it. And the structure kind of allowed me to learn more before going on the trip, and it made all the connections to these locations so much stronger than anything I've ever done before.
Having the classwork helped a lot because it tied in my knowledge of architecture and engineering to the relevance of the history behind these buildings.
It made a huge impact on the trip, being able to understand the history and all the English references behind the trip. It made it that much more enjoyable because we actually knew what we were seeing and you could relate back to the text.
My writing before this trip was purely just for assignments. I would write what a teacher told me to write and turn in my paper. But on this trip, I really learned that writing is a lot more personal. It's actually something I really enjoy. It's able to use words in a way that really described how I felt.
In France, I kind of found myself sitting on a ledge, listening to the ambulance go by in the crazy city, and I just found myself just writing poetry and writing journal entries, and pre-trip I was nothing like this. I found a little niche that I enjoy writing poetry, and I guess turned me into a little bit of a writer.
It helped me speak more from the soul rather than so much of the research that feels a little dead sometimes that I have to do in my field, and a little bit sterile and kind of detached, whereas this is really talking from the heart, and it gives a more personal flavor to my writing, which I really enjoy.
When I was told, write about what you think, write about what you want to know, write about your story, it was something that made me take a step back and be like, who is Jessica? What is Jessica going to write about? And what does Jessica want to share?
We went on a boat excursion around the island of Capri, and there was something about us all being together in this beautiful water with the wind blowing, the waves crashing against the boat. Just everyone was just so content, and you could see that all their problems were left behind. They were carefree. We had the realization that we were in our study abroad. Like, that was the realization that we were away from home, we were with each other, we became a collective we, and it was a very beautiful moment.
We all had such different perspectives, and it made the trip so much more enjoyable to be able to talk to these people with such different views on things.
Day one from DIA, just sitting in the airport waiting for our plane, we all just got super close and built relationships that I probably will have the rest of my life.
Study abroad means memories that I'll never lose, memories that will always stay with me that I can tell my friends and family about.
It's a personally defining pinpoint in my life that'll be hard to outdo, but I'm sure it'll set the stage for many great things to come.
It means opportunity. It means chances. It showed me that there's more outside of this world than Pueblo, and it's okay to step out of your comfort zone. And you create this box for yourself but it's okay to tear it down and build a new one, or just leave the walls down and let life happen. I don't have to be afraid to go outside the country. I don't even have to be afraid to be on a plane, that I could do it, that I can do something better, greater, be who I want to be.
Study abroad has really kind of changed the way that I will live the rest of my life, and that's kind of amazing that 2 weeks will dictate how I teach my students and how I interact with the world.
If I could describe study abroad in one word, it would be together. You're experiencing these moments, these excursions, situations with this group of people that no one else is going to understand except this group of people. And I think that's very special, that you can have that connection with others.
Study abroad has taught me that there is so much out there in the world. And I know that I'm never going to be able to see it all, but sure going to try. I hope to take other people traveling with me and experience that I've got, I want to pass it on to my friends, my family someday, and show as many people that this is a big planet and there's so much to see out there.
Being able to say that you stood in places like St. Paul and St. Peter, so amazing to be able to say that you were in those same places where they once stood.
I will teach history in a way that I never thought that I would before going on these trips. Hopefully I can inspire my students to think about history and humanity in a different way that I would have before going on these trips.
One special moment on trip, I would say going to Mykonos for the first time, seeing where my family's from, just being in Greece was so amazing and really, really heartfelt, and just thinking about my family the whole time.
A lot of firsts happened on this trip. Well, the first was deciding I was going to leave the country. The first was getting a passport. The first was having the courage to tell my work that I was going to take time off. The first time I actually thought about myself and what was going to be for my future. The first time being on a plane ride, not only was it a 4-hour plane ride, but then I got on another plane and did that as well. The first time I've seen the ocean. The first time I've experienced new foods such as fish, mussels, octopus. The first time I roomed with girls that I didn't know. The first time I was taking a trip with people I really didn't know. The first time I went without Facebook, social media for like 2 weeks and not really checking it. The first boat ride. It was kind of the first time I really saw myself for being just Jessica.
I think it was like, the second or third day of the cruise, and it was the anniversary of my mother's birthday. And since she passed away a couple years ago, all of my siblings, we just kind of found each other, and like we shared this moment on this cruise in Greece. We just kind of sat there together and thought about all the things that we had seen and the things that we had learned. We thought about where we came from as people, and it was amazing just to kind of like sit there and live that moment with my siblings. It kind of made me acknowledge my family and the importance that my family has in my life, and also see myself in a different way that I never had before. These trips really kind of challenged me to do something better with my life. It's amazing that I am able to find myself at the same time my siblings are doing the same thing, and we're all like connecting, and it's kind of fantastic.
You may come from a background where you have a single parent, you're the main provider. You're not really told you could get out, but you can, and you can make it work. You can make it yourself. I would tell a person that wanted to do this and had things put against them is that if you want to do something, set your mind to it and set goals to do it. Find your person that will support you. It's hard to do, but once you take that jump, there's no going back. And it's a free fall experience and a rush of excitement that no one could ever explain to you in pictures. You have to experience it for yourself. And once you do, you will forever be thankful that you did it.